Hey everybody, we are just so excited to be with all of you today. My name is Quinton Lucas. In many ways, I'm the deputy mayor of Kansas City because the real mayor, George Medina, is here. George, I want to thank you, Mayor of Waldo, for letting me have a moment here, and my colleagues on City Council and the city.
Anytime.
You know, particularly if we're doing something good, right?
Right,
And
right.
so
That's a good
this is something that we have been talking about and working on for a long time. And I think it is special for us to be here at the Waldo Area Business Association as we talk about this opportunity. Plainly, infrastructure, our roads have not been what they need to be in Waldo. They have not been what they needed to be in Kansas City for a number of years. When Councilwoman Boo and I got elected some years ago, we said it's time for us to make a change. We were lucky enough to have Councilman Duncan join us, the city manager, and so many others. But throughout all of those, the different twists and turns, you all were the ones who said, don't forget about Waldo. And so while we have increased funding for roads and sidewalks throughout our city, we wanted to make sure that we were ready to get projects done and get them done well. And today we're here to celebrate that. The 75th and Wornall Road Improvements Project, which was introduced by Council members Boo, Duncan, and myself, was passed by City Council just a few weeks ago. And it will allocate $14 million to improvements, which will include new concrete pavement, curbs and gutters, sidewalks, traffic signals, street lighting, streetscapes, water main replacement, and green infrastructure for our stormwater detention. To not get too boring and technical, but our goal is very simply this, and you've all had to live through it, to make sure that we take care of every infrastructure need, including water and sewer work, our public works work, all at the same time, so we can make sure that you have a smooth road, one that we're not cutting up right after that project's done. I keep looking at our Director of Transportation in Kansas City, Jason Waldron, who, if anything goes wrong, talk to him. But more seriously, we're excited by the fact that this can be a model of good construction work here in the future. A few other things that I wanted to make sure we noted. We have heard you in Waldo, and as a result of extensive community engagement with the Waldo Area Business Association, the Waldo Community Improvement District, and surrounding neighborhoods, you are getting this funding. While we're proud to serve, we recognize that it would not be happening without all of you, some of you in this room, so many others who have been calling our offices for years. And I said once to Councilwoman Boo, and I think Councilman Duncan's seeing it, I love every district of the city the same, don't get me wrong. But the 6th district, you guys really stay on us, and we appreciate that all the time. So as we note as well, there will be no more dodging cars as you bike or walk on the trolley track trail. This improvement project will ensure better, safer connections on the trails, on our sidewalks, and on our streets. For those who are wondering where the funding's coming from, it's also thanks to you, our taxpayers in Kansas City. The core of this project is funded by the general obligation bonds. We voted on them in 2017. We have worked diligently to make sure we could have good funding here. Working with the Mid-America Regional Council, MoDOT, the Waldo CID, and 6th District Council members, staff from our Public Works Department, including Mr. Waldron, put together a funding plan to make sure this project can get done. And we recognize also here in Waldo and around Kansas City, we have more work to do. But we are finally digging out from generations of poor maintenance of our roadways. I'll tell you a little anecdote. When I first became mayor back in 2019, I remind you, 2019, things seemed magical and like we'd figure everything out and there'd be no pandemic. But the Chiefs have won Super Bowls since then, so it's not all bad. But I did a ride-along with a gentleman from Public Works who, we got into about a 1995 Ford Taurus. And I said, I see we're investing in our cars here at the city too. But nonetheless, we got into this Taurus, drove around the city. And I said, how much deferred maintenance work do we have to do on our roads? And he said, about $5.5 billion. And I said, well, do we have any funding plan for all of that? And he just said, no. And so what we have tried to do in that time since, with the help of the city manager, is make sure that we come up with a good and concrete plan for how we are looking at areas that we can prioritize, how we're listening to your issues and concerns, and more than anything, the best ways we can support residents and businesses of Kansas City. There are a lot of people to thank, but more than anything, I want to thank all of you. Our taxpayers who have supported the GO bonds, our residents who call us, and those of you who have continued to hang on and invest in Waldo and Wornall for years and years. It has been a bit of a running joke about some of the road challenges and other issues you face here. We want it to be a running joke no more. We want to make sure that you know that your streets are as smooth as anywhere, that the city supports you as much as anywhere, and more than anything, that we are ready to have a dynamic and strong Kansas City for years to come. So thank you for your patience. And my hope is that this is the beginning of even more infrastructure improvements in Waldo, in Kansas City's 6th District here in the Southland, and throughout the city. But I'll also note as I transition, we would not be here without the help of the woman standing to my left, Councilwoman Andrea Boo, who from the moment she got on City Council was saying, how do we make sure that we have good funding priorities on Wornall? She's fighting hard for homes right now. She is making sure that we do all of that work citywide. So with that, I introduce 6th District Councilwoman at Large, Andrea Boo.
Thank you. I will be very brief, but persistence gets things done. Right, Peggy? I am so honored to be here today to be able to talk about this because it is something that we've talked about for over 4 years. And as we were getting ready to work on this ordinance, staff came and said, okay, we have a little bit of a funding gap. And I said, let's get under the mattresses because we're getting this done. But I also want to thank my colleague, Councilman Duncan, because when we sat down to get this over the finish line, we worked together, and we were not going to stall this any longer. But there are also a couple of other people I want to thank. Jason, I want to thank you, our Public Works Director, our Nicholas Bozzanato, our engineer, our water department. There were so many people that worked on this, but there are two people that aren't here today that I would like to thank. And I brought them with me. Mario Vasquez, a lot of you know him. He's been working on this for a long time. He cannot be here today. And Mayor Pro Tem Kevin McManus. I texted him when we passed the ordinance, and he was very excited. And I know he would be here today if he was in town. So I'm going to leave it with that because this has been a group effort, and we are so happy to finally get this done. Let me warn you, it's going to be a little bit of a mess for a while. But the Director of Public Works says, and Jason, you're going to have to help me, the road to progress is...
The road to success is always under construction.
Yes, the road to success is always under construction. So we are going to get to success. Just give us a little bit of time. Thank you. And I'm going to introduce my relatively new colleague, 6th in District, Jonathan Duncan.
You know, Andrea Boo said, you know, it's wild. You get elected and Red Ridge Road gets completed. We finally get funding to start 75th and Wornall. I said, you're welcome. No, I just want to thank our city staff in particular. Being able to leverage city taxpayer dollars for more money, which is what we did here. And making our money work to actually solve issues such as 75th and Wornall is integral in what they do every single day, and it's what I've been impressed by the most. I'll just part with this. We can keep Waldo weird and still keep Waldo streets safe. So I'm happy that's what we're doing today. Thanks.
Brought some notes. There's a lot of people to thank here. But my name is Sean Anderson. I'm the Interim Executive Director with both the Waldo Area Business Association and the Community Improvement District. As we here in Waldo prepare to take on this massive project, there's one phrase that continues to bounce around my brain, and it's a long time coming. I think a lot of you would agree with me. It was 2013, according to our records, when we first began this journey together, searching for a way to unite our vision of the Waldo Streetscape project with the much needed rebuilding of Wornall Road. Now, almost a decade later, and thanks to help from the City of Kansas City, Missouri, the Mid-America Regional Council, Kansas City Area Transportation Authority, and countless Waldonian advocates, we can finally say, let's get to work. While we would love the staff here to take credit for getting this effort across the finish line, there are dozens, if not hundreds, of people to thank for their hard work in getting us to this point. Former Waldo leaders such as Marty Lee, Raven Graham, Dorna Edgar Swan, Sean Atkerson, who I see here, Mario Vasquez, Diane Botwin, Peggy LaPierre, Sam Grimowski, Becky Beck, Debbie Allman, Jerry Singer, and others have fought tirelessly for this moment. I'd also like to thank Randy Allowine and his team of talented city engineers, Public Works, Casey Water, everybody who's been involved, who have likewise revised plans, budgets, and kept safety in the forefront of our design process. Lastly but not least, we'd be remiss not to extend our thanks to Mayor Lucas, Councilwoman Boo, Councilperson Duncan, and all the rest of you for your support in this cause. While we understand that the next 15 to 18 months will be full of dust, trucks, and activity, we believe that this project will bring significant positive change to Waldo for decades to come. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Just echoing everyone's thanks for city staff, Jason, Nick, Mario, the entire team. I've been working on this for years, since even before I got here. We are taking street repair and infrastructure very seriously in this town. We are doing more than 3.5 times the annual historic rate of street resurfacing. This year, this fiscal year alone, which started May 1st, we've already done 494 miles of streets. That is way more than we've been doing in years past. To the mayor's point, we've got years and decades of deferred maintenance around this city, and we're catching up. And I think you all see it, how much better our streets are, the quality of our infrastructure, and how things are improving. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're going to sign. Council members, if you'll join me. And I kind of want to mess up everything, move the table up some. And anybody, the rest of you want to come around in the shot, come on. You know,
Come on, Mayor.
I know.
We should get,
I'll hold them up behind you guys if you want. Is that weird?
Come on, Zach, Zach, come
Come on, come
on.
on.
Promise, no bunny ears, no bunny ears.
I needed that.
This is going to be amazing. So fun. I mean, just anyway, I won't overdo it.
Christmas.
Duncan's like, just sign it. Just do your job. Oh, we all need to sign it.
Should read it first.
All right.
he's trying to delay it here. We've waited long enough here.
We have to set up the shot for everybody.
Wow.
Be ready, man, be ready.
Wow. I don't know if I can beat that.
All right.
Awesome.
Now we clap. That's awesome. Just a little.